Would you like to learn how to go from unknown to well known so you can be seen as an expert, establish trust and authority, set yourself apart from your competitors, and get paid more for your expertise? I'm Priya Florence Jha, award winning publisher, author, podcaster, and online branding consultant. In this channel, you'll learn how to create a personal brand that outlasts the next social media or search engine algorithm update. Sign up for my free personal branding email course below, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video. Today I'm interviewing Veena Maheshwari, who identified herself as a writer first, realized that independence laid the foundation of her desires, so she began walking down the road to freedom by choosing to help others who lack that freedom when writing for their passion. Today, leading a team of 7 niche oriented professionals across the world, she is the founder and CEO of SciMysFic publishing house, which is primarily based in the United States. Having understood the growing need for vanity publishing, she chose to have sci-fi, mystery, and fantasy fiction works as her niche. Every category has its own demands, and we cover for this one, she says. So, hi, Veena.
Hello.
It's been a bit of a what do you say struggle for us to get in touch with each other and finally connect. But I think
Absolutely.
yeah, that's the way finally here. But it's I really like the your what you're doing because you're kind of a niche publishing house for fantasy and for fiction writers. So how did that come
Obviously.
about? Tell me a little bit about that. How did that come about?
Okay, so first of all, I started when I started writing, I always wanted to publish something, especially in religion, philosophy, science fiction, and all that. And the more I went for commercial publishing or traditional publishing, as people call it. So when I approached them, I found out that the more it is like niche oriented, you get the kind of customers it's a circle where people will definitely buy the books. It's like a funnel, so you're not sure if actually everyone will buy it or not. It's like a market is really narrowed down. That is what
Mm-hmm.
niche publishing is.
Right, right.
So yeah, so the commercial publishing is not a really option for a lot of people who write like a pinpointed kind of writing they do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but the kind of books that I'm actually writing right now is I find it very connected towards Dan Brown's books. So that's where I am concentrated. Maybe people in general will be liking it, but for people who really write in particular areas, I would like to give them more, people who can exactly buy their books. That's where we'll be focusing on, especially the marketing side.
So what I wanted to ask you is, so you're in a niche, right? You're focusing on the niche. And are you
Yeah.
into traditional or self-publishing for your authors? I mean, do you go this traditional publishing way or do you self-publish for them?
Okay, most people don't even understand the difference between what exactly self-publishing is and what is subsidiary publishing is.
Hmm.
Like subsidiary publishing is like we just take their books and they pay us, but the name that we give is that it's published under our name. It's our
Okay.
company that is published. But when it comes to self-publishing as such, we never take the credit. We give all the name and everything. Whoever is publishing is the person who is the name that comes up, like the
Right.
author itself. He is the one who is publishing. So
Yeah.
I'm not right now I'm not focusing on traditional publishing at all. I'll be playing around with subsidiary and the self-publishing part if the author wants complete rights, as in where whenever his name has to show up even in the publishing areas, that that is what he wants, we'll give that. Otherwise it will be published as in our name, that is SciMysFic publishing houses who is publishing it. This will be displayed. So
Right.
we play around that. Yeah.
So what kind of, how does that differ? I mean, in terms of, in terms of creating an authority for the author, can the author say that I got it published from a traditional publishing house or from a publishing house or whatever? So, because
No,
I think that's a concern for a lot of authors, right? To
yeah,
having,
yeah, I have seen a lot of people like Austin Martin and a lot of other people. I don't want to like name or exactly point out, but they really inspired me in their work because what I have seen is like, when you go for traditional publishing, people like, not everyone gets their chances. Like everyone gets either rejected like 11, 12 times. I've personally seen others who got rejected more than they can imagine. Then they have to take another jobs and just quit or their complete writing career, and they just
Yeah,
lose
yeah,
hope.
yeah,
It's like really sad when you hear their story. So we're like, okay, maybe you can self-publish, and they're like, oh, there is no name in it, nobody will care, nobody was gonna read, there's no respect, and all that comes up. So I'm like, okay, then you just like, okay, if there is a name behind it, like something like publishing house, maybe it's like it might help at least some people. Like nowadays what I'm listening from the people who are like we are reaching out to, they're like, okay, it sounds like a lot like what they are trying to publish, like if it's science fiction or mystery fiction, fantasy fiction. So maybe if a name like ours comes up behind it, so they might be like, okay, maybe they are authority figure or something. So they know what exactly the market is, where to sell it. And even yesterday we had a client who was only focusing on Amazon. He want only to be selling on Amazon, and he wants to reach the right audience who will just buy it without a second thought or even caring about the algorithms or reviews. So we are like, we will build that for you, the kind of fan base and managing your other profile and all that. So we are like, like you give the back support, like the support system for another,
yeah.
however that person wants. So that's how we will be moving forward with, that's the vision.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
because even traditional publishers don't give you as much support as authors think they will, right? Today it's not, that's not the case.
Absolutely.
That's not the case
Yeah.
anymore. I mean, authors have to do a lot of the work themselves when it comes to promoting their books as well as branding themselves and creating an author platform, which is really important,
Right.
right? Can you tell us
Right.
a
Right.
little bit about how the importance of an author platform, about creating that branding for yourself as an author?
Yeah. Okay. So to start with, like the process itself, it's like you give the complete independence to the author. Complete independence. Like for me, what happened when I finally got like a little nod from one of the editors of the traditional publishing. What the person told me, like, they will need to edit a lot of parts, and they will need to change a little bit, about the characters and how the ending should be coming. I was like, okay, let me just think about it. So then they were like, okay, we'll decide the cover design. And I was like, I was losing the authority. And then in the end, I'll be getting only 30% of my royalties.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
true.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to lose complete right over my own creative work.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. And
Yeah.
I was someone who is like, I don't like being told to do something, or I don't like being under somebody's authority. I don't know if that is a thing, but I just don't like it. So I was like, okay, maybe I need independence. An indie author would be something that I would like much more. Even
Right.
though it is very hard to get to the audience, but if it is worth it, I suppose, because
Yeah.
you will know what to keep, what not to keep, and you will learn it by trial and error method. I love that.
Yeah, I completely agree actually, because you have complete control over your creative work and your creative process, and that's something
Yeah.
many authors value more than just
Yeah.
having with the traditional publisher's name. Many authors value having that creative control over their, or their book and their material. And
Exactly.
I think a lot of traditional authors, like, are planning to self publish. I think Stephen King was planning
Yeah.
to self publish as well. And
Yeah.
there are a lot of self-published books that have become bestsellers, right? Like, I think
Yeah.
50 Shades of Grey was self-published. uh,
Exactly. Exactly
yeah,
the point.
right. So there are lots of self-published books that have become bestsellers. So
Books.
it doesn't mean that just because
Exactly.
you're self-published, you can't be a successful author. So that's just a myth
Obviously.
now. And I think self-publishing is going to take
Exactly.
over, frankly. In the a lot of Penguin is
In the coming
closing.
time, yes.
Yeah, Penguin is in trouble right now. So a lot of traditional publishers are in trouble, and they can't give you the support that you really want. So I think self-publishing is the way to go for many people. But you're
Exactly.
focused, like you said, you're focused on fiction and science fiction, which is a big, huge. I'm a big, huge fan of science
Yeah.
fiction. Although I don't get the time to read science fiction novels nowadays, I'm more watching science fiction movies because
Exactly,
they all the
exactly.
rage.
Star Wars is coming.
Yeah, I
And Star
saw
Wars
it.
is already hit. Yeah.
I saw it. I had to see it because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So,
Exactly, exactly.
so right.
Yeah, so you said you like, of course, the sci-fi movies, of course. So we also have sided with one of the companies that work for Hollywood, who would like to, take in books that are published with us, which have a
Right,
good story and which have good scope to be. But they are mostly into Prime videos, making Prime videos, like for the Prime, Amazon Prime. So they
right.
are sided with them, but
Yeah,
they are willing to produce our movies if they
yeah.
like it. So
That's
it's like
very
a huge
interesting.
platform. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's so great. So that means if someone publishes with you, they even have the chance of getting their book, made into a movie.
Exactly.
Wow, that's awesome.
Exactly.
I'm going
Exactly.
to pass on your contacts to to a friend of mine who's writing a science fiction novel right now.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll tell her to get in touch with you. So and
You sure?
I will. Okay, so what I want to ask next is, what do you expect from your authors? Because I know being successful as an author takes more than just publishing a book. Just because you have your book out there doesn't mean you're going to be successful. You have to keep marketing it every day. I know as an author that I have to keep putting out the message every day almost, in order to
Sure.
get sales or to get downloads or whatever, because I also give a so can you just tell us a little bit about is that an echo? I'm sorry. Tell us a little bit about what is the best way for an author to market themselves online, to promote their books online?
Okay, since I was also like very, stepping into this for this field kind of author, like I was very new. I didn't know where to go, how to start, what to do, who to go to. And I did it, to be honest, I did it myself. And I think I failed really bad. I took a really nosedive kind of thing, and I realized we have to delegate. It's not something that everyone can do, like, because it's your own baby. And no matter how, it's no offense for a lot of fathers out there, no matter how ugly your baby is, or no matter how flawed your baby is, you're going to see it as perfect to an extent. So what I realized that you need to, give it to at least, pass it on to at least 3 to 4 people, or give it to a really professional editor,
Hmm.
then a proofreader, then you go to the best cover design, because when it comes to Amazon, the thumbnails matter, really matter.
Yes, true. Yeah.
Then, of course, marketing is like a big, big, big hurdle, because you need to start from market research. Where we do it nowadays, we what we do is, it's for Amazon. Like yesterday, my client, how we did it for him is like we do on KDP Skyrocket. So we get exact results, what kind of titles people use, what sells, what doesn't, what keywords to use, what kind of keywords should come in the description, everything. So, you need to delegate with people who know stuff, and not really like, okay, we dipped my feet into this and this and this. So that doesn't make you perfect. You just, you know stuff, that's it. But when it comes to marketing especially, you need to have really good people behind you. So starting from market research, you need to be out there as an author. You have to give your freebies, you need to put your content out there. And of course, the Facebook and Instagram ads and all, they're really expensive, to be honest, what I experienced,
Hmm.
because I didn't know like when to target, who to target, which target audience exactly to put in under my funnel, and starting a email that campaigns, of course. I didn't know all that. And when I actually delegated with people, I saw results, to be honest.
Yeah,
I saw really good results.
because you
That
can't
makes
be an expert at everything. I mean, you're an author, right?
no.
You're an expert
Yeah,
at whatever you're writing about, whether it's a fiction novel or it's non-fiction. You're an expert at your topic, but you can't be an expert at everything in marketing, and it's difficult for you to
absolutely.
learn everything and become an expert overnight. That just doesn't happen.
That,
So I think it is very important for authors to hire someone like an online marketing firm or something to
Mhm.
promote their book and to know how to set
Exactly.
up your sales funnel, because you do need a sales funnel as an author, right, for your book.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
So,
I don't think even I can do that. Like, even if an author comes to me, even I cannot do that. I need to give it to my team
hmm,
completely. That's why they are for. So it's like, I would say marketing is the toughest part, even
hmm,
for us.
yes.
When you have to research that book, what you are holding in your hand, you need to know inside out. You go out
Hmm.
there, you tell people to buy it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's like you are taking somebody else's pocket into the other's pocket. So it's like you're the in between person. So you're like a stockbroker or something. You're making that person make a decision whether you have to buy that or not. So it's really like you need to convince
yeah,
them.
yeah.
So
You
you
so you
need to
have.
know them and them.
Yeah, you have to know how to market to your audience, how to set up
Exactly.
your platform and stuff like that. And also,
Exactly.
do you have any tips when it comes? You're an author yourself, so do you have any tips when it comes to building your author platform in terms of building your reader base? How do you build that? How would you go about doing that?
Well, when I started out, like, I was very, like I said, I was a newbie and I was very new to this. What I did was I was just cold emailing, cold messaging, especially on Indeed, of course. So you just go out there, you tell people that I'm there. This book is about this and this, and if you see that person is interested in sci-fi, don't leave that person. Don't let him go anywhere. You just make him, just give him a description that this is what I have written about. You may be interested. Let's just this, or maybe you can go for a review swap. I did that one with one person. I'm still reading his book, so he has not, put that review yet. So I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe that's one of the ways you can, because it's a newbie thing, and people don't really trust you as an author. They have to buy the book and read, then they trust you. So it's like, it's a slow process. Nobody has to panic or anything. When you gradually go there, you make your point. You're like, okay, I know stuff about this. I'm good at imagination. I'm creative. My words flow. I'm not telling, I'm showing. All these things, when they understand, they'll start buying your book. So yeah, I think that's what I would say, that just don't panic. It's a slow process when it's a new person.
yeah. And
So
just
it's
because
like,
your book is out there, it doesn't mean it's going to be an instant bestseller, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
it,
it
it
takes
doesn't happen in 1 week. It
no.
doesn't happen in 1 week, maybe about 1 month.
It takes
Yeah, so
time.
it's
I
like,
mean, for anyone,
yeah.
even the best
Mhm.
authors, they have to work at it. They have to work at marketing
Yeah,
and promoting their books. And
absolutely.
there's very few books that become instant bestsellers unless you've pre-sold them and you've had a marketing campaign to hype up the launch of your book and all. Then at that point of time, maybe you know.
Exactly. That's the same thing I would say to everyone who's hoping to get published and going out there. And if you have a dream, just keep writing, and you don't focus on all that. Just leave it that to some people who are good at it, and you keep writing. You write the next book when you're done with your one book, because that's what
Yeah,
I faced.
yeah.
I'm stuck in the middle, and I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this. Don't give up, just keep writing. That's your job.
Yeah, you're a
Yeah,
writer, so you should write. And yes, leave the marketing to the people
right.
who know how to do it. Also,
Exactly.
there are certain things that some authors, like I've read about John Locke. You've heard about John Locke,
Mhm.
who
Of course, of
promoted
course.
his, yes, I think he was the first one to make $1 million or something through his books on Amazon. I'm not sure, but I was reading about him,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, yeah.
he was a marketer before he got into fiction writing. He was a marketer, and he spent
Exactly.
about
Exactly.
$25,000 promoting his book. But the fact is that he wrote a series of books, and it becomes easier to sell the later books if you've already established once you've established a platform and got sales for the first few books. Then
Exactly.
people like
Exactly.
your books, and they're going to come back and read the rest of them. Like it's like how Stephen King has his fans, and they will come and read any absolutely anything that he
Yeah.
puts out. They will come and read it. So it's like that. You have to build up the your author platform over time, right? And it takes
You're
time, it takes money. People
exactly.
think that
Exactly.
they can put out their book there and it doesn't take
Yes.
any money to promote it, but no, it does. John Locke, I read his
You
book,
need
and
investment.
yeah, you need an investment. You need to invest in your book and in your writing and in your audience, so and putting out the message there.
Exactly.
Okay, so Veena, as an author, as a publisher, what is the number one thing you would recommend to anyone who wants to build their brand online, whether as an author or any other in any way? Like, of course, being an author is creating a brand for yourself anyway, right? When once you become an author, you are
Yeah.
already creating a brand. But what is the number one thing you would tell a new author, to get started with when while they're
Uh,
writing their book also? Yes.
yeah. So I would suggest to stick on to what you really believe in and you really know about, because, you know, when you look at the really famous authors, they just stick on to one kind of area they can write about. Like
Mm.
if you look at Dan Brown, his style and, at least the way he narrates the story remains the same, except some of the stuff here and there would change. And again, when it comes to, if you just look at the other people who are really famous, like J.K. Rowling, or even the 50 Shades of Grey, if you just see that, like, they exactly went for that kind of niche where people would definitely buy it knowing what it is. And again, they buy it anyway because they know that how that the first book came out and they know what to expect. They don't want to be
Yeah, that's
surprised
true.
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, people like, if, especially people who read fiction, they like that formula, right? They like to know that your
Yeah.
books are going to follow a certain sequence, or they're going to have those
Certain, yes,
characters
yes,
that they can
yes.
relate to. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that matters. Even John Locke created some a character called Donovan something. I don't remember the exact
Uh-huh.
name, but
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
he when he talks, when he communicates with his audience on Twitter, he communicates in the
Mm-hmm.
voice of his character. His character is a western
Yeah.
kind of thing, and he communicates in
Okay.
the voice of his characters. People enjoy that kind of thing. So I think
Exactly.
that's very important to, it's like, become kind of almost like
Authoritative.
cosplaying. Yeah, it's authoritative. It's also a lot of fun for your readers, because they can relate to
Exactly.
you in that voice, and they
Because as we are into fiction, we like the escapade. So escapade is through being related to a character.
yeah.
We start being in that person's shoes. So that is what makes a fiction a fiction. So I suppose,
Yeah.
yeah, you need to feel that when you finish a book and you keep it aside, you feel like, okay, maybe there should have been something else or something, more. Then when that same author writes something, you expect maybe you get something from there, or some kind of a universe collapse or something like that. So I
Yeah.
have seen that personally in my own reading style. Like I expect to get something that is completely different from that author's, but another book has some kind of a clue or one person showing up. That has happened and I was really excited. So I was like, maybe there's a pattern that each author follows, starting from J.R.R. Tolkien and all those people who are really, really huge names. Even
Yeah.
George R.R. Martin. You just name anyone. You just look at their profile and you'll know what exactly they write about, and they'll just
Yeah.
follow that
George
till
R.R.
the end.
Martin also is also into sci-fi, by the way. You know that, right? He's
Yeah,
also
exactly. He has
he's also
written
compiled, yeah,
like
some
a
anthology. He's compiled an
yeah,
anthology of sci-fi books,
yeah,
stories,
exactly.
stories.
There is Night Flyer. Night Flyer. I went through that. Night Flyer is my kind of sci-fi, which he has wrote. I
Yes.
really liked it, but the series version didn't really impress me that much. So I
Okay.
know when, yeah, you see it on screen. Sometimes it's disappointing. Sometimes it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I was underwhelmed with the Game of Thrones series on screen because I'm a reader. I'm a book
Oh,
reader. I've read the books like two, three times, all the books, and I'm
oh, wow.
still waiting for Dance with no, which is the new, the Winds of Winter. The Winds of Winter is
Oh,
supposed
Winter,
it was
Winter.
supposed to have come out in 2014, and we're still waiting for it in
Oh.
2020, 2020. So I don't know when
Maybe
that
it's
book is going to
much
come
more
out.
satisfying than the series, because series was really disappointing. The last season was really disappointing to a lot of audiences out there who
Yeah.
literally died for goat. So I think people should start reading.
Yes, the books are, like we say, the books are better than the movie, or the books are
Much
better than the
better, of
series.
course.
Yes, they are. The books are definitely better. better. And so I'm like, I'm really waiting for the next. So it's like, but it takes, while to build up that kind of crazy fan audience who will read each and every book that you will put out, right? It takes a while, and he's been writing those books for many, many years before they
Many
finally
years.
were made into a series, right? So
Yes,
I think expecting instant results, authors should
it's not
start becoming more, or what do you say, more realistic, not just realistic,
exactly
becoming more aware of the fact that it takes marketing, it takes promotion, it takes an effort to
a
actually
lot
build
of.
up that audience of those crazy
Mhm.
fans who will buy everything that you put out, so
True,
right, building an
true
author
that, true
platform is
that.
not easy. It's not easy at all.
Not easy, not easy. So that's what we are saying. Like, that's what we are here for, because we can, to make your work like 60% easier for you. Because, anyways, you need investment. You need your time invested. You need your hard work. Your sweat is invested. So why not some money? It's like,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, it's like that's nothing in compared to being, you spend so much time writing your stuff, imagining that, and you're imagining your book to be really success, but you didn't do enough, so that didn't get there where it should have been. So that sometimes is a pain. Even I went through that. So I personally say that if I was a company before and I was looking for myself, then I
Hmm.
would have definitely did what I am doing right now. Like, maybe I would have given this to my company itself,
Hmm.
and maybe I could have got a better results from my first book. And first books are like, you fail fast, you learn fast. So I learned really fast.
Right.
So now I won't do the same mistake, at least.
Okay, what other methods do you use, to build your personal author brand and to promote your books
Uh-huh.
or your own personally?
Personally, I like to connect to, the other authors around. Like, there are a lot of people. I never realized that there are so many authors. When
Hmm.
I really went out and started speaking to them, I was like, oh my god, there were so many, and I thought I was the only one. Then I was like, okay, but then we started sharing, like, okay, I'm stuck in the middle, what do I do? So they just come up and support. There is Facebook groups, there are LinkedIn groups, there are people out there. Just, start building your network. Then you get, you share the same kind of interest, maybe the same sci-fi interest, or maybe the mystery interest. Then you will know who bought their books. You directly, you can channel to them. Maybe you can start, since you're mutual friends, maybe that friend can share your book, and those people will be able to see, and they will buy your books because
Yeah.
they also have, so that kind of connections is important. You need to make network. You need to go out there, if you can just start, getting on the PR more, maybe like interviews or getting book signing, all that stuff. There are a lot of stuff out there. You just need to just reach out to,
Yeah.
some people who can help
Yeah.
you with.
Right.
So that's what I think, because as a self-published author, it's in the end only you can blame yourself. That's what
if
I would
if it
say.
doesn't work, right, if it doesn't succeed,
Yeah,
yes, I mean, you have to take responsibility for that, because there's a lot you can do to
exactly,
make your book succeed, to make your book a success, to
exactly.
help
There are a lot
promote
of
it.
things
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah. Yeah. and
I
and
mean,
what
yeah,
Yeah, like you were saying, traditional publishers, they are not very helpful. And yes, you have met many people who've been rejected many times by
I
traditional
did.
publishers. Of course, the
Yeah,
traditional publishers would argue that those books were not up to match. But I think also they are looking for a very specific type of book. And if that book doesn't meet that specific type, then they
hmm,
won't promote it. So I think self-publishing is the
exactly.
way to go for many people who want to get out there, get their your name out there, but don't want to go with the traditional, are not able to get their book traditionally published. That doesn't mean not a good author. Your books can become a bestseller. Your books can do really well, like so many authors
Yes,
are doing. So just
exactly.
don't just think of that traditional publishing all the time. That doesn't mean this is stamp of having a traditional publisher
Exactly.
doesn't mean your book is not authoritative or whatever, because lots of traditional books also do not sell, right? Doesn't mean they are
Thank
going to
you.
sell. Yeah, lots of
Point. That's
traditionally
exactly my
published.
point.
Yeah, they don't sell. I mean, the lots of traditionally published books don't sell because there's not enough promotion behind that, or they are,
Exactly.
or they're not just, or the audience doesn't like them, so it has to click.
Maybe it's a cover, maybe it's some character dying, maybe something or the other. There's people who really need to read.
Yeah,
Even as me, as a reader, I'm really choosy, I'm really picky. I go out there in a bookstore, I can sit out there like till like it's opening at 9 o'clock, maybe it's closing at nine at the night, and I'll sit through it. I don't have a problem. So I can even read through all the chapter ones of all the books that are there, and I'll choose at least one or maybe two. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah, right.
It's like the reader is the real hero here.
Yeah,
It's like, if you need to get to him, you need to tell him like what exactly is the story. You need to do it in 5 seconds. That's what I would
true.
suggest.
That's true. At least in the first chapter, your first chapter has to grab their attention, right? And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the person that you're trying to
Hmm.
target. And do you think that the authors, when they're writing their books, should they have a very
Hmm.
clear idea of who they're writing for? I mean, is that important?
That's how I think it's the most important strategy most of the really famous authors use.
Yeah.
They will have a kind of what do we say, an avatar kind
Yes.
of thing. Like
Yes.
they will have a person in their mind who they're okay. In my case, I was writing it for like a particular. To be very honest, I was like really writing for one person. To be honest,
Hmm.
and to reach that kind of mindset people, and it's not just one person who is with that kind of mindset.
There are many people
There
with that
are
menace. Yes.
many people, just we don't know them.
Yeah.
We just
Exactly.
need to reach them right. So that's
Yes.
what I think most of the marketing companies are helping us with, creating the
Yes.
right channels, right, creating the right kind of campaigns,
Yeah.
and doing the market research, where to do it, what not to do. So that's, I think, it's very important. It's like it's not rocket science, but we do need specialists.
Yes, you need
That's
to
what
need
I would
specialists
advocate.
who know what they're doing, right? So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
another thing I
Don't
want.
go for,
Yeah.
yeah, don't go for cheap ones also, because that's I went through that. I went through the pain, and it was like you cannot blame them. Really, it was your mistake. You went for
Yeah,
something. Okay,
cheap. Yeah.
if you really value your work, you need to assess your work, what that can gain you, what is your work worth. So if that is out there, what can bring to you, like what is the value that will come to you. So just put in that, kind of at least a minimal value that will be, in connection to what will be coming to you. So
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I would suggest to others, because others are in the end especially the self-published author is kind of like a businessman. You need to think in that terms.
You do, right? You do, because your book is your product, and you're selling a
Yes,
product, and ultimately it comes down
exactly.
to that you're selling your product, and you have to think, like, you have to think about who you're selling it to, who your audience is, how to target
Mhm.
them, and how to keep them engaged, how to keep them wanting the next book, how to keep them hungry for the whatever else you're writing, stuff like that. So all that is takes marketing. It takes a way of thinking that not all authors are not born with that, so you have to either learn
I
that,
know.
which takes years of practice, or you hand it
Practice.
over to, to someone who can do that.
People
uh,
who only do that, yeah.
Yes, people who only do that for a living. And then I know people who are focused on only making someone's book a bestseller using algorithms on Amazon. There are
Algorithms,
there are
exactly. The
people who are,
skyrocket is really,
yeah.
really on the side, skyrocket, because people are like, even if it is a paid thing,
Hmm.
sometimes the author cannot figure out how to use it, or maybe how to use data that comes through it.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe you just don't even need to buy it. If you just provide a person with the right kind of, investment, that person will do A to Z thing, and you need not even worry about it. You just need to expect the results that you're expecting, because you just feel that you're in the right hands. That's it. You have done with the what the
Absolutely.
initial stage is, what you need to do. So I think
Absolutely.
that's really relieving. Even as a, as an, if I'm the author, I'm the, avatar in my head, I'll be really relieved. I'll be like,
Hmm.
okay, my book
Yeah.
is, yeah, I can expect something at least.
Right. Yeah, I know you have to believe that your work is worth that. And time is money, so if you're going to spend all that time promoting that book and not getting a
Exactly.
result out of it, you have to know that okay, it's probably something that you're doing that you don't know how to do. And so,
Exactly.
get your publisher, or ask your publisher who can do it for you, that kind of thing. So yeah, right.
Okay, yeah. I don't know how many people do that. I mean, like I've seen a lot of people who just, like hoard their money and they're like, okay, maybe a lot of money will come to me, but I'm not spending any. So that's something that you need to change, to be
Yeah,
honest. When it
absolutely.
comes to yeah,
I, I
self-published author.
I read a nice quote the other day that people who are not making money are usually the people who won't spend it, in order to make it, who are not willing to spend
Yeah,
it. So if you're
exactly.
not
So
willing to spend that money,
how do you expect your reader to spend any money to buy your book?
exactly, you want them to spend, but you're not willing to spend on promoting your book. So you have to
Exactly.
be you have to be willing to spend on that.
Kind of generous.
Yeah. And so, what are the basic things that an author needs? Like you were saying, okay, not
Mhm,
just in terms of networking. I mean, I'm talking
mhm,
about that author platform. Like you said, you need a sales funnel. So
mhm.
did you get all those things built for yourself for your own books? Because I only
No,
have the link to
I
your
yeah. No, I
yeah.
had a other website before. I took it down because I was like, I shouldn't be doing both, and I'm
Hmm.
not able to juggle the both. So I was like, okay, I'll keep the company and I'll let go of the other website. What I'm gonna do is like, maybe if like maybe I'm like writing in like I'm to be honest, I'm stuck in the middle with a novel. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll search for the right kind of thing and it will start flowing. So I'm just waiting for that. So when that finishes, I will do it from my publishing house itself. And then
Right.
I'll ask my marketing team to create a other platform and they will, handle it. And I don't have to
Yeah.
worry. I'll just pay them, right? So
Right.
that's what I would do that with my own company. So it's not a big deal. Like you have to have it when you are an author, you're making people read what you're thinking, what you have to say. It's not a small thing, to be honest. Even if
Mm.
you're a self-published author, you have to pat yourself on the back at least, to when you see your book in somebody's hand, you should be like, okay, I'm really proud. So that's the kind of credit you can give yourself, but you need to, just delegate and make you do your work, let other people do theirs. You just, have to be a little, sorted there. Even I find a lot of people who cannot do that. So I'm just saying to them also, just you know it's really hard for me to say, but that is the truth. And
Yeah.
like I said before, I don't have to really defend myself, but when I'm saying like 5 second rule, that 5 second rule, like it comes up everywhere, because even I have this tendency to look at the cover and decide if it's a good or not thing. So
Hmm.
cover designs matter a lot, to be very honest, and even the blurb. So when it comes to a book production, you have to give importance to everything. Every page matters, to be honest.
Hmm.
Yeah, even the bad printing or something goes an error here or there, or something just sticks out, or the reader will catch it. No matter
Hmm.
how hard you try to just conceal it, reader will catch it. That's what I as a reader also I can say that. So you need to have that perfection till what you can do, then you let delegate, and then you just free yourself up to fit and just live through and start writing your next book. That's what
Yeah.
that's what I would suggest for all the others. No need to stress out and barge your head against the wall to get the ideas. Just let it flow, and keep that you have in a habit of writing every day from a fixed time. So you don't have to feel like it's a job or something, but you should feel some responsibility towards yourself, because that's, I mean, nobody, it's like not everybody can do this. Writing is not like everybody can do it.
Hmm.
It's really like it just have to be born with you. That's what I believe. You
Well, I,
have
I think
to.
I think you can train yourself also to be a good writer. There are ways to
Yeah, I
train
mean,
yourself. Yeah.
yeah, I do believe that also, but again I would suggest, if you're feeling that you need to train it, that means you were there. I mean, that writer person was inside somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
He was hiding. He was just being reserved. He was
Yeah.
not willing to
Yeah.
come out.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, I'm really shy. Maybe I'm not that good. Maybe people won't read it. Then
Yeah.
one sudden day, you just feel that, okay, maybe if I take some course, maybe some coach can come out and he will make me write, and then I can read few books on writing. And you perfect your skills, and there he is, the research
Yeah.
person standing in behind the curtain was, right in front of you in the flashlight. So it's like, that's
Yeah.
what I believe.
I
Yeah,
think the training, I think what happens is training and coaching helps build your confidence, because if you already have that
exactly.
writer in you, you can train with someone to build your confidence and help you come
Exactly.
out, help you write more easily, and help the ideas flow more easily, help you tap into your
Exactly.
creativity. And I think a writing coach can help you tremendously in doing that, because
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
really, I'm not needed a writing coach myself, but I would
Oh.
I would highly recommend it if you're stuck, or to people who are finding it difficult or don't have the confidence. They want to write something, but they don't have the confidence to do it. So I think a writing coach can really take you from point A to point B, where you can build up some
Exactly,
confidence,
exactly.
help the ideas flow more.
Oh,
Creatively, whatever, be
maybe
more
what
creative.
I exactly, and what I feel is that what coaches really do is asks you the question who nobody else dared you to ask.
True, very
Now he
true.
asks the right questions. So you'll start thinking, maybe you have to answer because you have already paid him. So you need to answer. You cannot avoid the question, or you'll be like, okay, that's not your business. That's his business and you have paid for it. So
Yes.
you start answering the questions and everything starts to,
Fall in place.
clicked.
Yeah, it starts
Yes.
to fall in place. Things start falling place when you ask the right questions.
It
and
happened to me. So
and
that's what.
and you become accountable, when you have a coach, you're accountable to
Exactly.
someone. And that
Accountability.
accountability helps you get started with your writing and realize that, no, I don't have any more excuses. Otherwise you're always giving
Point.
yourself these excuses in your head. No, I'm not this good, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. And having a coach takes away all the excuses, and then you have to get started writing. So I think that's
Exactly.
really important. So
Exactly. And even the mindset matters to an extent.
absolutely, yeah.
People need to work on their mindset. People write, even people like Sylvia Plath, who really went through a very bad mindset. She came out and became so creative, and she was expressing herself throughout till she can, let herself out of this kind of whatever the mystery she was going through. So
Yeah.
I think writing helps you in every phases of your life. Like
Hmm.
even if you're stuck, even if you just start writing about maybe a wall or maybe something that is right in front of you. Just start writing and things will start to flow and the block will be melted. That's what I suppose we
It's
mean
yeah.
when I say that. People would, some people like my friends itself, they would be like, okay, it's easier said than done. And I'm like, okay, I was there, I am there sometimes. And you just face your blank paper or blank screen every day, and you'll be like, oh my god, I have to fill at least 1,000 words today, and I don't think anything is coming up. And then maybe you just introduce a new character or somebody who came up in the first scenes, something like that. Just it's your book, man, you can do anything. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true. I mean, and
Yeah.
writing is therapeutic for many people. You'll find
Yeah,
writing very
absolutely.
therapeutic, right? So, I think maybe if we can keep a journal, journaling can probably help spark your creativity. Also, if you have a journal,
Exactly.
lots of writers keep journals and they journal their
Absolutely.
thoughts. So that is something that can help spark creativity. And of course, there are lots of other ways to do it. I know. I read about um, the author of Jonathan Livingston Seagull,
Mm-hmm.
Richard.
Yes, of course.
Sorry, why am I not able to remember his name? He's one of my favorite authors, Richard
Yeah.
Bach. Richard Bach,
Okay.
one of my
Okay.
favorite authors. So I read that he used a method called the Silva mind meditation in order to
Mm-hmm.
write the end of the novel, because he wasn't able to get the end of the novel, and so he used the Silva mind
Everyone.
meditation, and
Mm-hmm.
that came to him, the end of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which is a really famous book, right? And I think many of
I
us have
know.
read it, and it's one of my favorite books of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's one of the classics. So,
it's a
no
classic.
doubt.
Yeah.
It just, yeah. I'm like, but I do agree. Writing the ending is the worst task because most people who most readers who complain about a lot of books is like, oh man, that ending was not something I was expecting. That ending killed it. I needed closure. So these kind of stuff always comes up. Even there are many books written during like modern era, postmodern era, which actually tried out coming up with three endings for the same novel. I have read one,
Yes.
but I
Yeah.
cannot remember the title or anything. I have a very bad memory in that terms. So in that way, I can say that's what I would always say. You can write a groundbreaking, something that is out of cliche, something completely different than whatever has come before. Maybe you can start from the back, from the climax to the beginning. You
Mm.
can do anything. It's up to you what you decide. But that is where the traditional publishing and the self-publishing comes in. Traditional publishing always would stick to something that already people have seen.
Yeah.
Like
Formulaic.
they
Some formula
yeah,
that works, right?
exactly. Like 7-step formula, three act, three act thing, a 3-act plot. Sorry. So it's like okay, you should maybe change it this way or that way. That's that I have gone through. So I always start my stories from midway. So it's like they come up, they will be stuck somewhere or something, and then you have to go flashbacks come in, and you have to be really careful. You're not telling the story, you're showing the story. So
Mm.
and for me, the worst part is when my editor, the editor who's sleeping inside me, just wakes up the moment I start writing. So that's something I need to really work on.
No, you shouldn't. Yeah, when you're writing, it should be a free flow, right? And you shouldn't be
Exactly.
editing as you go along. You should leave that to somebody else, or you know, do it
I know.
afterwards. Yeah,
I
do
mean,
it
I'm
afterwards.
really, yeah, I need to really, really work on that. Except that I think I'm good to go. But yeah, maybe because it's a habit that I always always, and anything that comes up in my life, I stick to the perfection. Like I try to make it as perfect as possible. And, maybe that has been a problem for me. That's why I'm having trouble in finishing my novel at this point. But for me, what I suggest is, as a sci-fi novelist, you really, really should have a really backing with, good research
Mm.
and, a really good background, and you have to be telling. It's like you have to unlock a new kind of a universe. It's
True.
your universe. It's
True.
in your head, and you're letting people in, you're letting people see how it is like in your head. Literally,
Yes.
I picture it that way.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it has to be something spectacular that people just sit there and just awestruck and something like that. I would picture that when the people
Yeah.
go through my novel, each word. So yeah, I mean, it is it's worth it, it's worth the pain. But to be honest, I would not even I would not want any new some person coming in and telling me to stop doing this, and you have to change it here, the ending shouldn't be here, or something should change, and the character name should be changed, or the cover should be like this. So I would go for self-publishing any day is what I think.
Yeah, I agree. Me too. I personally, I don't have the patience to go with a traditional publisher because it takes 6 months, like,
Yeah.
to just,
Oh,
I mean, and look at
get a
George
reply.
Martin. We're waiting for 6 years for his, the Winds of Winter. We're waiting for 6 years and it hasn't come out yet. And I don't know if it ever will or what, when are we going to wait for it?
I wish he would have went for self-publishing. He would have finished it long back. I know.
Yeah, someone should tell George Martin, please get self-published, GRRM.
I think he can go for the highest end packages. Like he can go for the right, starting from the biggest investment possible, and he can get that book, even everything that book needs, and there
Yeah.
is no need of any publicity for that book. I would suggest.
Absolutely. We're all waiting to pounce on it as soon as it comes out.
Exactly.
So I would
That's
I would
where every
pre-order.
author.
Yeah. I would pre-order
Yeah.
it if it was available.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, I would
No, I
pre-order it.
don't think it's on pre-order. Okay.
No, it's not.
Wow.
It's not available. It's not available. He's just released
Okay,
about
very
three.
good.
He's released three chapters from the book on his blog. So I've read all
Wow.
these chapters. I've read all those chapters, and they are very
You're
different from
really
the series.
following him.
Oh God,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, I'm a huge, huge fan. I told you I've read the books 3 times. Like I think 2, 3 times I've read the books. So
Wow.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've
So,
always read.
just
Yeah,
no,
sorry.
just my don't mind me asking, but who is your favorite character so far?
In GRR, in Song of Ice and Fire. I'm not going to call it Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is a series.
Yeah, yeah,
The
no
series
problem, no
is
problem.
called Song of Ice and Fire. Arya is one of
Hmm.
my favorite characters. I really like Arya.
Oh,
I
any day.
love I
Yes.
love Arya because she's a
Even the series, she is
very
amazing.
strong female character, and her
Absolutely.
she has a very interesting character arc. I mean, she goes to Bravos and she becomes an
Exactly the
assassin and
point.
stuff like that. So
It's actually like a sci-fi or a fantasy fiction hero. Like he
absolutely,
goes through a very bad tragic thing, then he or she meets the right kind of masters.
yeah,
Then yeah, it's amazing. It's like you
it's
that's the
the
ideal kind of plot.
it's the hero's journey. It's the hero's journey.
Yeah, and
The hero's journey that we have in the
yeah,
plot.
and he unexpectedly kills the strongest villain of all time.
She
I'm like, yes. Yeah, I
she
mean,
Arya
I was talking
Arya.
in the terms of fantasy hero.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, of course, the fantasy hero does
Because
that.
yeah, I was picturing my hero who is in my novel. So I was like, oh, now I see the similarity. Yeah.
Actually, they're all similar. There are a whole bunch of similarities in. If you see, they all have the hero's journey.
Hmm.
Tolkien has that. Rowling has that,
Absolutely.
and George
Exactly.
Martin has that. All the famous books actually both have that hero's journey, and they have a very
Journeys,
similar
yes.
plot thing. Even Star Wars. When I watched the last Star Wars movie, I was thinking, oh my God, this is
Hmm.
Harry Potter. You know, I'm honestly,
Yeah.
the last Star Wars
He's
movies.
preparing for the last battle. Yeah,
Not
I
to give
mean,
away any spoilers to people who haven't watched the movie, but it is you
it's
when
all
you
right.
when you watch the movie, you're going to say, oh my God, this is Harry Potter. So that is yeah, the last battle.
Oh.
So so anyway, I don't want to give away any more
Ah,
spoilers for that movie. So
and to be like, okay, I'll come out. I didn't see it, the latest one either.
yeah.
Yesterday I went for the tickets. I couldn't get it. I went for Jumanji instead. So even I didn't see it. Now I feel like maybe I shouldn't.
No, no, you should. You should. It's absolutely it's great. I love the movie,
Okay.
and I don't agree with
Mhm.
people who are complaining about it. But I really think
Okay.
you must watch it as a fiction
And
author.
I'm really huge fan of the Baby Yoda. So
Oh,
definitely.
Baby Yoda's in the Mandalorian. Yoda's in the Mandalorian, not in this movie. It is not in the last
Oh
Nick movie.
shit, shit,
Baby
sorry.
Yoda's in
I'm
the
so sorry.
Mandalorian. So that's a different
Yeah.
series, and that's on Disney, and that's not available in India. So I'm cursing Disney right now. I'm really upset with
Oh,
Disney for not showing that in India. But anyway, I hope I'm waiting for it to come sooner or later.
okay. Okay.
Anyway, anyway, it's been
Yeah.
great talking to you, Veena. I mean,
Definitely.
it's
And
been
I
really
loved
fun.
it because, yeah, I was like, okay, somebody who really loves fantasy fiction and
I
science
love,
fiction.
yeah,
It was
I do.
amazing.
I do. I'm a huge fantasy fiction fan. I don't read everything fantasy fiction. I usually pick and choose. We have to pick and choose. We have to be choosy with our time, right? So I'm very picky and choosy when it comes to what to watch, what to read, things like that.
Not,
So
yeah.
yeah. So nowadays I'm mostly into movies because movies are very fast. You can get through them in an hour and a half. Like so much
That's why when you tell them that, okay, probably your book can be,
a movie.
public, yeah, becoming a movie soon. Then maybe that's like the biggest way to reach your audience. And maybe when you really like the video or really like the movie, then you go back and read the
And read
book.
the book. Yes.
People, yeah, people do that. Even I have done that. So yeah. So it's like that's the biggest publicity you can ever give for your book and yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you
a great thing.
become a celebrity overnight, maybe. So
Yes.
it's like, yeah, movies are a very good medium
Yeah.
for
Movies are very
getting there out there as an author.
and reaching so many more people who are not readers, right? Lots of people who are not
Exactly.
readers. So your
Yeah,
movie can reach a
most
whole
of them
bunch
are
of people.
visuals. Yes.
Yes, they're
Visual people.
visual people. Yes, visual learners and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah. Okay.
this was wonderful. I really enjoyed talking to
Yeah,
you. We had a
me too.
lovely chat. And as readers
Yeah.
and as writers, we can really connect on levels that that you can't connect with other people. So yeah. Okay, great. I'm just going to pause the recording. How did you like that interview? Do you have any questions you'd like me to ask my next guest? Do post them in the comments below.